Hello everyone, this is Stephen Gibson, the new illustrator and art director for GreenBrier Games, and I'm excited to show you the last month or two's worth of work on Zpoc 2. You'll notice it is very different from the original game, um, but I wanted to explain some of the design choices and show off some of what I've been working on outside of the picture. So this is the original spread. So here's your original squad board. And the dials, you got your original armory cards and accessories, your skills, which are now going to be called perks, and your original resources and food cards. So that's to give you a reference of where it was at, what it was looking like. Personally, I feel like it was a little, didn't utilize space properly and kind of muddy and a little bit all over the place. So the new one is much different. So here's the new squad board. You have slots for the items equipped to each survivor. You have spots for your food. These are actually dials that will have rivets in the center. The actual numbers will be all upright, not upside down like this. You see there's a lot of detail put in here, like little things that hopefully everyone notices, for those who are looking will. Like this bullet says brain poker on it. Some fun stuff like that. Yeah, so that's a new squad board. I took an approach of wanting things to look literal, like you and your squad kind of hobbled together this piece of wood and made it yourself. Obviously, it's not totally feasible in the real world, but I want it to look real. I enjoy doing that. So let's take a look at the old squad board again. Yucky. Yeah. Okay. So moving on, these skulls will change color depending on the player. So here are the new armory cards, or I guess you could say items. The theme here is that it's kind of like an ammo crate, because when you go out into the world, you can find these things in crates and stuff like that. So you got this crate. This is the back of the card over here, and then this is the front of the card. It's supposed to look like you pulled the crate top off. That's what this wood with these nails are. And you see the item inside the crate. So, got nice big visuals. We removed the flavor text, which was on the old ones, which I felt that a lot of them had inconsistent lengths, and I just wanted to kind of, you know what a frying pan is. You don't need a description for it. So, yeah. So there you got your damage up here, how much range it has, what type it is. So this is a ranged item, and then what kind of dice it uses. And then you have all of its little thingies. This card over here, the survivor cards now have, this is the back over here. Just remember all the text on here is just like placeholder. It's not the actual text for these particular people. It's just me laying out the graphic design, where stuff's going to go. So you can see here, this is the survivors kind of have a day side and a night side now. So during the day, when you're accessing like the action board, you'll be able to flip over the card and it'll have traits and objectives related to stuff you would do during the day. And then the back of the card, which is representing the nighttime skill set, which is why it looks more dark, that has everything to do with combat, which is when you're fighting zombies at nighttime and all that. So yeah, you can see that the pictures, I only have so much time to do each illustration and make the deadline, so I got to do some kind of quick stuff to it. But the old ones were very, very tiny, very muddy. I felt fairly inconsistent. Some people even looked like they were zombies, but they're not. So there you have a new illustration where it just kind of shows the person's black and white, so I don't have to worry about color. It allows me to speed up the process, add some nice lighting without worrying about the color composition. It's meant to look like a Polaroid. Yeah, so you see, because survivors are randomly drawn at different times, we needed to make a cover card. So the survivor stack will have this card on top, which is meant to look like, there's a survivor inside this house. and they've marked their house that way. The back of the card has rules, just like reminder text about how survivors work and all that. So this little blood splatter on the bottom designates whether or not this is a character you can start the game with, or an item you can start the game with. Little blood dipped in blood there. So those are the survivor cards. Yes, these objectives here, I'm sure GBG will explain it more later, but each survivor has an objective that they can accomplish, and that gives you victory points. You know, Rozzy the dog, kind of show off some more there. So down here are perks and mutations, and critical wounds. So you have your perk deck, which is meant to look like a dog tag, kind of fun graphic design there. And then perks can either be mutations, skills, or training. And we wanted them to slot underneath your survivor card so you could easily see what it is and what it does. Stuff that's more complicated, like hand-fisted. If you're familiar with the game, you at least remember, like, okay, hand-fisted, I know what that does. But if you need to, it's got all the text. You could slide it out for all the text. This critical wound here, that's a psychological wound. If we run up here to the critical wounds deck, you can see you can have a psychological one, which is blue. You can have just like a physical wound, which is the blood. And then you could have like a plague wound, infected wound, which is the green one. So those can be attached to your characters as well. The other nice thing about the big pictures is you'll roll your dice and assign them to your different survivors, and then you can just pop those right on the picture, so it doesn't cover up any other info you might need. Over here we have resources and food. Now, again, the actual content on these cards is not the literal content. It's just showing off the graphic design. So it's very simplified from before. I like it to be nice and clean, but also kind of look dirty and worn. We want each deck to be easily recognizable, like critical wounds, big bright cards, or big red cards. The white cards are the resource deck. The black ones are the food deck. So I have redone all of the icons in the game so that they're consistent across the board. Maybe across the board's right, not the right term, across the game. So here you have, this is kind of like a chalk stone kind of look to these cards. And yeah, okay, so let's look at the planning board here now. So the old planning board was very different. I'll bring it up here real quick. If I can find the right one. Planning. Oh, maybe it's the action board. So here's, I think, the one from Zpoc 1, I believe. So the first time I played Zpoc, I found it kind of confusing. There's a lot of content going on here and kind of cluttered. I do like this illustration of the city. I think that's pretty cool, but I wanted to clean it up and make it much more straightforward. And also the design of Zpoc 2 is, we wanted to have a better user experience where stuff is a lot more obvious. So yeah, so this one is similar motif to the squad board. So you actually have like a wood board here. And then it has each of the phases, so scavenge, craft, guard, rest, and then reminder text for each of those phases below the title. Then you have the slots for different characters that you can assign there. Rest, you can assign any number of people. You can also get upgrades through the crafting cards, which I'll explain in a second. And then you would slot those on the respective spots on the board. So if, say, you build the repaired truck, it relates to scavenging, so that would be a scavenge upgrade. So you put the card over there. So it's a little more intuitive as to where stuff is going and all of that. The approach I took with the progress tracker is that it's like a calendar, and I wanted to have fun with it. So like here it says, in case of emergency, good luck, you're on your own. In Keeping track of your impending doom has never been so easy. Zpocalypse Calendar Co. It's the month of April. April 22nd is when the original Zpocalypse funded, so a nice little Easter egg there, some reminder text at the bottom. The stars are milestones, and you got some blood splatters and stuff like that. So again, kind of going for the more literal look of something that was pieced together by the survivors. Yeah, so crafting cards over here. So you have your trash can kitchen. These are meant to look like blueprints. You know, it's very like it should be very obvious if you just read it. It should be pretty intuitive what you need to do to build the trash can kitchen. The basic crafting, kind of as a reminder text of how crafting works. And on the back of that, it's got your crafting recipes. So the back of the trash can kitchen is crafting recipes and all that. And over here we have the mutate deck, which are the boss zombies. So you have their how much damage they do, how much range they have, how much speed they have. A little illustration based on the minis. Over here is how you track their health. We're using cubes, I believe. And it tells you what you set their health at per player. And then each one has a special ability. Pretty straightforward. And then the back of the card's got that fun little mutated thingy. So that's the general, that's a lot of what's been going on. And so just want to share that with you all and kind of where we're headed. Kind of improve the art across the board, across the game, and have it look really fun. I want people to stare at the cards and look at the details and enjoy those aspects of the game visually. So, and I feel like making it look literal is going to help it be a lot more immersive for the players. Get the feeling of being this post-apocalyptic kind of scenario. So there you have it. Hope you enjoy the new design. I know some people sometimes get attached to old designs, and I think that's a very subjective experience for people. But yeah, this is an objective improvement to the game, and at least its clarity for everyone and its functionality. So thanks for watching, and feel free to post your comments about the art direction and what you do and don't like. Mostly what you like. That's what I like to hear. Anyway, thanks.